Well, hello, traders and investors. I'm LA Little, and this is your daily NeoTA wrap. Take a look at these markets. Doing it from a neoclassical perspective, that means we're looking at supply and demand on the charts. We're using that to make wise decisions about our portfolios. When to get in, when to get out, which way to point. Those are the important things. You got to know how to wrap money management around it, and that way you can consistently profit over time. That's what we teach at TA today. We use a model portfolio. We show you how to do it through that, and you can apply those principles on any time frame and with any amount of risk that you care to. As far as what happened today, let's take a look at it. Here's the S&P, an extension to the top side. We got more volume. This thing extends, and if we go over and look at the index numbers around the world, they were all up, slightly, 1/4%, 1/3%, but they all made new highs, including the Russell. And the Russell was the tell. Remember last night we were talking about the Russell, and what I told you on the Russell is that what you should expect is that this thing, when it comes back, it should get bought in this area. And I think I pointed out that and this swing point high here, and we talked about this one, and we said, okay, what's the overlap? And when we looked at that overlap last night, if you remember, and let me get rid of this, what we said was, okay, this right here, this overlapping area is the key area, and I'll just draw it in dark. This was the key area. That's where you should expect buyers to show up. Where did they show? And if they did, that would be bullish, right? Where did they show? Right before it got to it. In other words, they didn't let it get into it. They bought it. They flip it around. What do? The test failure yesterday turns into a test success today. Volume on the breakout now. A little bit less than volume on this bar, so it'll be a suspect breakout. But a suspect breakout doesn't mean it can't continue. It just means it has a lower probability of continuance for a longer period of time. So breakouts, all the indexes now, they're all congruent. They're all doing the same thing. And that says that these things can continue to climb. There's nothing to stop them at this point. If you look over at the NASDAQ, look at the NDX, the small caps in the NDX were the ones that were lagging today comparatively. Here's the NDX 100, just barely makes new highs. But folks, this is like, what do we got here? Let's go back and count them. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You got 10 days up. 10 days in a row. Well, actually, you had 9 out of 10 up. That's a strong market. I'm sure we'll get a pullback here at some point, but this is not something you should be fighting. When they're giving you money, you got to be standing there taking the money with them. You can't turn your head, or worse, fight it. No matter what you think, defer to what the market's telling you. The market tells you it's strong, then you defer to the fact that it is strong. Let's flip through the sectors real quick, see what they look like. Here's the IYT. It's up near the highs. I'm going to use the SMH tonight. Look at that one. So that one's right up near the highs. We'll go to the SOX next. That one's still struggling. Now, it already made its run, right? Struggling, coming back into this big bar, the swing point high. This one can get down farther. It doesn't want to, it keeps, the buyers keep trying to come back to it, but it's struggling up here at these highs. And it's extended quite a ways and has been one of the leaders on the way up. XLB's got resistance coming back into and still struggling on this big breakout bar, 52.63. XLE, this one was actually down on the day, flipped around right at the end of the day, ended up coming back to test a swing point high. And you actually have, finally, an ABCD structure to the upside here. And we'll see if it can complete, right? What you're always looking for is, can you get something to the upside that actually completes? In other words, this thing has been doing bearish stuff, for a while now, right? All these little ABCD structures on the downside. Now you want to see an ABCD structure complete to the upside that gives you confidence that, in fact, not on this time frame, but on the weekly time frame, you're actually getting a turn. And if you're getting the turn on the weekly, then you've got something going again. And right now, it looks pretty good. I mean, look at what you have here on the weekly. Last week, pickaxe reversal. That reversal comes on lighter volume. That's what you want to see. Usually your ideal entry you're looking for is the bottom of the preceding bar. Just didn't quite get there. Again, if it doesn't get to where it should, that tells you it's stronger than you think. So XLE starting to perk up finally. The real strength today and yesterday, XLF, the financials in general, the small cap financials too, they broke out today as well. Here's the XLF extending. That's a nice looking chart. You got an extension, you got a breakout. Looks like it took place today, and it looks like it's probably going to hold on this weekly unless we get some dramatic reversals here before the end of the week. XLI also breaks out on the daily, and that one should be breaking out on the weekly, and it looks like it is. Let's go to the XLK and see what that one looks like. And what we got here, just continue grind higher on the XLK, and that of course is the NASDAQ 100 and other large cap holdings. XLP still holding at the highs. There's really very little out here that shows any kind of weakness. The XLV, even in the ball game now, gets over a swing point high. Looks like it's going to break over that big bar resistance. Again, strength is coming out everywhere, going after the next swing point high, and then of course the last one was be where it's going. This also exhibiting good strength today and actually the last 3 days. Finally, if we look at the consumer discretionary, XLY also breaks out on the daily and continues to extend. I don't see anything other than the stocks even struggling with respect to sectors. That all looks pretty strong and continues to look like, it just looks like it's going to extend, right? And there's no reason to fight a market that's strong. Let's go over to the dollar right quick, see what the dollar looks like. I know it was up again today, and got a little volume coming into it today and it's going after the swing point high. Now this was 26.17. It reaches 26.19. I believe the ABCD structure that was here was 26.20. So you don't have enough volume as you come into this ABCD structure as conclusion and this resistance zone. Got over it, back under it, less volume. That, just like we talked about last night, that's a test failure at this price zone. So we'll see if that turns the dollar back down as it almost finishes off its ABCD structure. If it does, we're probably going to see the reversal of the FXE, and not much of a tell there. And the other big one is the Canadian dollar and the Japanese yen. Let's look at the Canadian dollar. That also is a failure at its big bar, anchor bar. And finally, let's look at the yen. See what the yen looks like. And the yen trying to pick up some ground to the downside, which actually strengthens against the dollar. So this all looks like the dollar could be reaching a top here, short-term top. If that's true, we may see some money flow back into the metals. Let's go look at gold. Again, we're looking at that longer-term ABCD structure that I'd mentioned to you, and that is that we had got an extension, got the ABCD, got over it. Right now we're wondering, can we get another one from here? And that pullback came in to do the bullish retest regenerate and is trying to push higher. So today was kind of a tough day. We'll see tomorrow if it can actually carry. You get over this price point, then you target the next A, B, C, D, the D point on that structure. So overall, I don't see anything here to get overly concerned about. You're extended enough, I was looking at the bonds here, you're extended enough to where you can get a pullback at any point, but until you see something, you just have to stay with this market. That's it for tonight. Have a great one. I'll see you next time. Good night.